Hello. Welcome to Steins Gate Zero. My Discord is completely crashing, so I cannot ping anybody. I don't know what's going on. So I will figure that out later, but I don't know what would be helpful. Maybe someone could send a message, but no idea. Anyway, Steins Gate Zero. I hope you guys are excited as I am. In terms of other Steins Gate endings, it might be a loose ends kind of thing that I do on a different day. I just thought that it is kind of perfect that we ended on that we can start Steins Gate Zero on a Monday. So I don't know. You have to deal with like the OCD aspect of me. But we might go back. I think the only one that I really want to see is Mayuri's ending. Maybe Kuris's, but probably Mayuri's, if I have to pick an alternative ending out of Steins Gate that I want to watch. So we might do that one. Again, I have like three things that I need to do for a loose end stream, so we might do that at some point. Probably next week or the week after. I have extra holidays coming up, so we might use those. But I hope you guys enjoy the opening. It's a very different song. But anyway, let us begin. I don't know what to expect. I guess we'll find out. Ah, good times. August 21st is where we begin. Okay. Let's see. You're not the only one who feels that way, Stassel. I think I've done a little bit of research, and then it seems like a lot of people have said the same thing, but I'm curious. They say that this is a darker world, so I'm curious to see what's going on here. The hatch opened. Bright light flooded my eyes. Where was I? My eyes narrowed. I could barely make out the summer's twilight sky. I didn't want to leave. Oh, the music is very low. I just wanted to disappear, but someone grabbed my arm and dragged me out.
うお、もう帰ってきたお。まだ1分も経ってないのに。
Is it the same voice actor? Why does he sound slightly different?
おかわり?
I didn't have the energy to respond to my own nickname. I fell to the ground and wrapped my arm around myself.
おかわり!
Mayuri rushed over to me. She looked at my face in concern, but even her concern was too much for me to bear. Please, don't talk to me. Just leave me alone.
オカリン血まみれじゃん。どうしたん？
父さん、タオルと水、あと服も今すぐ手に入れてきて。
どういうことか説明プリーズ。
いいから早く。
わかったお。
That'll run back inside the
オ
building.
カリン、大丈夫？しっかりして、死なないで。大丈夫。怪我してるわけじゃないよ。
Stop it. Just get away from me. Oh, so this is the one where we failed and never went back because this is the story of the Okarin that lived on for the next 15 years, right? Okay. Leave me alone. I couldn't save her. Not only that, I took her life with my own 2 hands. 3 weeks ago, in this very spot, I killed her. I murdered her.
無駄だったんだ。何をやっても無駄だ。全部決まってしまっていることなんだよ。同じだ。真由里の時と同じなんだ。どれだけもがいたって結果は同じになる。
No matter how many times I try, the result will converge on Kuris's death. The cause doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I time leap or if I time travel. Going to the past can't change the result. I thought I understood that cruel truth. But now I was forced to realize it again, and in the worst possible way.
無駄だよ。無駄なんだ。何もかも無駄なんだよ。俺はやっぱりクリスを助けられないんだ。分かってた。分かってたんだ。こうなるって予想してたんだ。もう疲れた。ずっと休んでないんだ。だからもういいよ。
オカリン、一体何が。
俺が殺してしまった。バカみたいだ。全部俺のせいだ。
マキセ・クリスをさ、刺し殺しちゃったんだ。殺した？嘘、そんな。でも安心して、まだもう1回分タイムトラベルはできる。
ほっといてくれ。俺のことなんか何度やったって結果は同じだ。
何言ってんの？諦めるつもり？オカリンおじさんの肩には何十億っていう人の命がかかってるんだよ。たった1回の失敗が何だって言うんだ。
クリスはどうやったって助けられない。世界線の収束には逆らえない。
Alright, it's time for a little bit of review. How does this part of it work? Tips, there we go. It's so fancy looking. Like, relative to the original Steins Gate, this is like all super fancy looking. Worldline, a term referring to the infinite number of possible worlds. However, these worlds do not exist in parallel to one another, only one exists at a given time. Everything that occurs along a world line from the past to the future has been predetermined. Thus, no matter how much you change the past along a single world line, the results will always converge to the same outcome. That's the reality of this world. I learned that long ago.
こうなったらビンタしてでも気合い入れ直して。ダメだよ、無理強いするのは良くないよ。こんなボロボロになってるオカリン見てられないもん。でもさ、このままじゃ未来を変えられない。どうして未来のことをオカリン一人に押し付けるの？
That is a valid argument.
そんなの重すぎるよ。オカリンおじさんには世界の観測者としての能力があるからだよ。オカリンが望んだわけじゃないのに。それにもう一度やったってまたオカリンが傷つくだけだって思うな。未来のことを人一人で変えようなんてきっと無理なんだよ。だからそのためのシュタインズゲートで、気持ちはわかるよ。でもさ、私も未来をかけてここまで来てるんだよね。どっちにしろ2036年には戻れないんだ。そう簡単に諦めるつもりはないから。オカリンおじさん、一つだけ忠告しとく。このタイムマシンに残されてる燃料は有限なの。さっきは往復2回分しか残ってないって言ったけど、実はまだそれなりに余裕はある。
She was holding information from us.
それでも移動できる時間はおよそ344日分。
344 days.
片道のタイムトラベルだとしても、今から1年と経たないうちに7月28日には届かなくなる。
That's a lot more than 2 trips, isn't it?
覚えといて。その日になったらさ、私はたとえ一人でも飛ぶよ。
Someone was saying something to me, but I couldn't understand the words. I didn't want to listen to anything. I just wanted to sleep. Just let this all end. Just let me go.
オカリン、
Oh, Mayuri.
オカリン、ねえ、オカリン、もう頑張らなくてもいいからね。泣いてもいいんだよ、オカリン。
She's the best. Mayuri is
あゆ
just...
しいは そばにいるからね。おかりん。
I don't know if Mayuri's words were the reason why, but the tears started to flow. She's a dearie, I know. Mayuri is all heart. Like, that's what she is. She is all heart. I decided to forget everything. Ever since that day, I stopped going to the Future Gadget Lab. Let's go. We gotta get into this, the habit of this. Future Gadget Laboratory, fictional, a lab in name only. It is actually a group of students who make strange inventions. Awfully honest. The lab's founder, Okabe Rintaro, describes it as a place where he can further his ambitions to arrange the ruling structure of the world. To get there, from Akihabara Station, head down Chuodori until you reach Suehirocho Station. Then take a left onto Kuramaebashi-dori. In the alley before the traffic light, you'll find the rundown Ohiyama building. The lab is on the second floor. I'm sorry, Hordian. Are you having internet issues again? My upload seems okay, so I'm guessing the stream is running all right. Absolute zero. 11:23, so we're just moving forward in time. It's like 3 months later. Okay. UPX, the new symbol of Akihabara, was located right in front of the station. In the hall on the 4th floor, preparations has been going on all morning for the ATF, Akihabara Techno Forum convention. Universities and labs from both inside and outside the country. Oh, I should probably sound balance. Okay. Universities and labs from both inside and outside the country would work together to put on special seminars and symposiums at irregular intervals. My school, Tokyo Denki University, was participating as part of this industry collaboration efforts. Students were required to attend these seminars and submit reports to their instructors. Otherwise, they wouldn't get credit to their related classes. In addition, I was supposed to help one of the lecturers, Associate Professor Izaki. New character. I had just gotten a list from the reception desk at the shared lobby. I was waiting to check off the names of students who were coming to the lectures. There was still some time before the seminar started, so the lobby was mostly empty. None of the students on the list were here yet. I was bored, but I couldn't do anything but wait. The old me never could have imagined doing anything like this, but impressing Izaki was part of my new goal in life. I'm glad Okarin found new goals in life. That's excellent. Victor, oh gosh, Chondria? Chondria? Like mitochondria? Victor Chondria University. Yes, that was my new goal. Izaki did a lot of joint research projects with them and knew a lot of people there. The best first step to getting there my brain could come up with was being his assistant. Also, this convention was beholding another seminar by Victor Chondria University after the one held this summer. Of course, that interested me too. Summer. Oh boy. An image of her as she was then flashed through my mind. I was trying to get to Victochondria so I could learn about the work that Makise Kurisa had been doing. I wanted to try to do it myself. That's kind of romantic. To continue the work that she never was able to finish? Aww. He's gonna spend this world line in therapy, maybe. Maybe that's why this one is maybe that's why Steins Gate Zero is like dark and depressing. And I'm here for it. Of course, I wasn't a genius like Kurisu. I knew there was no way I'd be ever able to do exactly what she did. But if I could do even 10% of it, honestly, I'm amazed I've recovered so well. I don't know if you recovered. I'm very skeptical. I wonder if he's just like suppressing the feelings. I thought that to myself and chuckled, just as a voice called to me from across the lobby.
ちょっとそこの方
New girl? Wow, luscious hair. I looked up and saw a young girl approaching from the elevator hall. She was short and petite. Everything about her was small. I could kind of make out a few of the curves that don't appear until after puberty, but at least she wasn't in elementary school. But another young genius? Maybe middle school? For someone with such a cute face, she clearly didn't care about her appearance. Her hair wasn't styled and it poured down her back. I mean, if I have that much hair, I probably wouldn't bother styling it either. That would look like a lot of work. Even I could tell her clothes weren't very fashionable.
ごめんなさいスタッフルームってどこかしら
Speculation intensifies. That's how we run the stream. It's all about theories and hypotheses. She's a staff? Oh no.
ここは ATF のセミナー会場だけど
No, wait, is she Izaki? No, she's not Izaki. Clearly not a place where a middle school girl belonged. She probably just come to the wrong place.
そんなの分かっているわ何度同じ話を繰り返せば気が済むの
Oh, short-tempered too. Okay, definitely a young girl genius.
いや今初めて行ったんだけど
私にとってはあなたで4回目よこの場所に来てからね
Irritated, she pulled a card out of her jacket. It was one of the IDs given out to invited guests. Her name and the name of her workplace were written on the front.
Huh?
Maho. Victochondria. Victochondria University, USA, Brain Science Institute. Did you just blew your chances of getting into that school? Unfortunate.
ビクトル・コンドリア大学脳科学研究所
She must have worked with Kurisu in the past, right? Kurisu is a neurologist. I looked at the card, and then at her, and then back at the card, and then I looked at her again. I finally realized.
あそういうことかそのカードどこに落ちてたんだ拾ってくれたん
その話も4回目よ
Well, Kurisu's her specialty was neuroscience. I mean, neuroscientist, maybe. That might be the better word. I'm sorry. The old slowpoke Okabe, right? Good times. He was being a little smart towards the end. I was getting a little uncomfortable. She sighed and showed me another card. That is a scary face. Isn't it? It looks like she's like plotting something. This one was a photo ID from Mitochondria University.
Eh? Eh?
It was the same ID I'd seen Kurisu holding before on another world line. The photo on the card, yeah, well, that was definitely her.
ヒヤジョウマホって読むの。
Yajo Maho.
私の名前、ヒヤジョウマホ。漢字でもローマ字でも誰も読めた試しがないから先に言っとくわ。
ビクトル・コンドリア大学の
Oh, it is Chondria.
中学生、
And also, I like how like he is just not able to accept another girl genius. So in this world line, Kurisu's father has the paper. Yeah, I think we're full blast going to a World War III world line, basically. And we'll see how it turns out. I mean, so far, it does not sound like... Well, I guess we don't know yet, right? But so far, nothing is terribly broken out yet.
寝ぼけるなら夜にして。大学に中学生がいるわけないでしょ。
I mean, some schools do, actually.
それもそうだな。じゃあ飛び級か。
Unlike in Japan, it wasn't uncommon for Americans to skip grades. Kurisa had made it to university at age 17. But still, a girl this young working in a university lab?
一つ確認していいかしら。あなた今少なからず衝撃を受けてるわよね。こんな小さい子が信じられないかしら。
Yeah, Hordian, it is, we die 15 years from now. At least that's what Suzuha told us. Suzuha is the daughter of Daru, who should be born in 7.
それともこの年齢ですごいの方。
I don't know. I don't recall the other 10, but sure. She's so jaded. I love it. She got me.
高校をよく見なさい。
She's older. She just looks very young. The girl, Hyazo Maho, pointed to the part of the ID with her slender fingers. She was born in 1989 and it was 2010, so...
21歳。
She's older than you are, Rintaro. As a fellow tiny person, don't pull this shit.
つまり立派な成人女性よ。中学生じゃないのよ。もちろん小学生でも幼稚園児でも。
And then she puffed out her chest. There wasn't much to see. Alright, I think Okarin has been spending too much time with Daru after Kurisu's death, is my guess. But I could imagine her saying, they look bigger when I'm not wearing clothes, they're huge. No one feels that way.
何かしらその顔は。
いや、悪かった。謝る。
Yeah, just too much. I couldn't believe it. She was older than me. If Daru was here, he'd be dancing around screaming, Leo Loli for the win. Oh my god. Why do I have to deal with this? Alright. FTW, net slang short for the win, used to express excitement about the subject. Brain science. The scientific study of the brain. This field incorporates biology, genetics, medicine, psychology, and electrical engineering. Isn't just neuroscience. A university committed to cultivating scientists and engineers in order to promote the healthy development of science and technology. First established in Kanda, Tokyo as the high school, Genki Gakko, in 1907, it was chartered as a university in 1949. It was founded around the educational maxim, respect for practical study, and its motto is, in the technology breathes its creator. Because of the school's location, it was deeply involved in the development of Akihabara. Why do I have to deal with this? I know. There's just times when I just like want to, shut Daru and Okarin like out of the story. Like just don't shh kind of thing,
まあいいわ。世界中どこへ行っても同じ目に遭ってるから。
そうだろうな。
何か言った？
いや、別に。
Still, the Brain Science Institute? That's where Kurisu worked. Which means this person might know a lot about Kurisu. I held back the impulse to start badgering her with questions. I looked at the pamphlet with the seminar schedules. Victor Condria's lecture was the last one for the day, and was clearly intended to be the biggest. Was this Hiyazo Maho girl going to give a lecture? Just like Kurisa had done in the summer convention. No, wait. That's wrong. That never happened. Makisa Kurisu never gave any lectures over the summer. That happened in the Alpha World Line. She did in this one. In this world line I inhabited now, before the summer convention, she's already...
君が今日は登壇を？
いいえ、私は助手として来たの。あと通訳も兼ねてね。
I looked at the pamphlet again and saw the lecturer was a man named Alexis Leskinen. Leskinen? I don't know where the stress is. Alexis Leskinen, we're gonna go with that. A professor at Victor Condria University and a chief researcher of the Brain Science Institute.
テーマは
BSI.
人工知能革命か。面白そうだ。
時間があったらぜひ聞いてみてほしいわね。
I think she is, right? Because after the trip back, she was still there. I mean, I guess she could. No, she has to be here. She has to still be here. Because she doesn't have enough fuel to go back into the future, right? And we haven't changed the world enough that we've gone on to a different world line. I don't know. We'll find out, Horian. We'll find out.
そうするよ。あ、スタッフルームだったよな。
I led Maho over to the elevator hall and showed her where the staff room was.
ありがとう。
I had no reason to hang around her any further. I said goodbye and was just about to turn around. Just then, the elevator opened. A woman emerged. The instant I saw her face, every hair on my body stood on it again. Stood on it. Hold on. I'm going to... Can I config and up the character voice a little bit more? Sound. Right? Like, I feel like it's a bit quiet. How do you guys feel? I feel like the characters are a little quiet. But maybe it's just me. Okay, so we saw someone that made our hair stood up. Either that or lower the music. All right, let's try that. Lower the BGM. It's a kurisu? Who would have that reaction? Who would we have that reaction to, right? Moika. The fuck? I mean, some things never change, right? The phone, but... Kiru Moika. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. Calm down. This is the beta word line. Mayuri is alive. Moika's not going to kill her. Our eyes met. The eyes on the other side of her glasses were as dead as ever, and it was impossible to tell what she was thinking. I frantically averted my gaze before she realized something was wrong. She tilted her head for a second, but quickly lost interest in me and turned towards Maho. That's so interesting. It's like very, that description is very like Animal Planet, isn't it? Like, a wild animal got intrigued and lost interest.
ああ、雑誌社の方でしたよね。
Like a predator, yeah. Girls, tell me what shampoo you're using. They both have luscious hair.
お約束通り、取材を。
So she still works in journalism. Interesting. Even in this world line, Moika still spoke in faint whispers.
レスキネン教授はまだなんです。少しお待たせしてしまいますけど。
Your hair is going back from bad to worse. It's like, I don't know. I used to not care about my hair much, but like, recently I've been shedding like insane, so. They're using them in a video game. My hair is pretty good. Where can I get some? That'd be nice.
それまで私でよければシステムの概要でも。お願いします。
She is so freaking quiet. I'm shedding in the spring like a puppy, maybe. I don't know. Hydrate? Thank you. I failed to see how stretching could care for my hair, but I will stretch and we will see if anything pops. Nope. Nothing big today. During the Citizen Sleeper stream, I don't know if the mic caught it, but there was like a very distinct pop from my shoulder at one point, and I was like, ooh. Alright, the two of them disappeared into the staff room. I am very crunchy. But that is not an age development. I've always been very crunchy. I was crunchy as a kid too, so. As I watched them leave, I took a deep breath. I tried to calm down, but it wasn't working.
桐生萌か。もしかして、また、お前なのか。
To do what? I also thought this Rintaro has come to terms with Moeka, right? Like when we helped Moeka and everything, like we've come to terms with her, so why are you... You could still have, you know, PTSD from all the times that she killed Mayuri, but it was a terrible feeling, like a cold finger tracing the wounds in my heart. That night, when a terrorist threat shut down all the trains in Akihabara, that awful night, when I just knew something was going to happen.
ここでもまた、お前が。
I mean, do we know for sure? Potentially? She could still be with CERN. Most likely, yeah, you might be right. But, like, we have never encountered Moeka in a timeline where Kurisa had died, right? So God knows where the divergence began. I mean, actually, now I'm thinking about it, Suza had pretty much pointedly said that the main divergence point between Alpha and Beta was Makisa Kurisa's death, right? So, because he's a hot mess right now after everything. Yeah, that's true. It's interesting that we know where we're ending up, right, Hordian? It's just a matter of how we're gonna get there. And speaking of which, I guess I didn't know this, but well, no, I did, but let me just, I have a small cheat sheet, like, for Steins Gate 0 as well. There's like a certain, I think it's gonna be a while before we have to make any choices that actually matters, so we'll figure that out. We technically got spoilers. Yes, Lenia? Yes, ma'am. What's up? I probably don't have answers. I'm very confused by this game. Am I going to follow any guides now? In a way. So there is, I think the story in this one isn't necessarily quite like Steins Gate 0 in the structure. I do have a flowchart of the order that we need to do the endings. So that's pretty much all that I have. And there are very few choices that we need to make in order to get to the ending. So kind of, I guess I'm following a guide, but I don't know what it is at all. And the funky thing about Steingate Zero is that it seems like you have to get through all of the other endings before you get to the true ending, which is kind of neat, but it is also kind of funky. So oh, I see. Okay. Oik. Oh yeah. Here we go. Or was I just imagining things? Was she just a magazine reporter now instead of a CERN rounder? We're just doing reviews today. Wait, hold on. Nope. Tips. Thank you. Rounder. An unofficial group that works for CERN. The Rounders are, in theory, an independent group that performs various activities, such as technical investigations. However, their real objective is to recover the IBM 5100s, the only machine capable of hacking CERN's hidden database. In addition, they are to crush any attempts at time machine research around the world, while also kidnapping the scientists involved in order to force them to work for CERN. They are, in essence, mercenaries who are capable of using force if necessary. Rounders are deployed all over the world, and their exact numbers are unknown. Yet, despite this, some of the members of the bottom rung do their work without ever meeting another Rounder face to face. CERN, fictional, a French acronym for anyone who actually knows French. European Society for Nuclear Research, the world's largest elementary particle physics laboratory, located on the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva. It has a bank, a library, a post office, and a dormitory on the premises. Scientists from all around the world gather at CERN to research particle physics, and the number of people working there is in the thousands. Okay. Back we go. Now, even if Moeka was a Rounder, we had nothing to do with CERN anymore. CERN wouldn't be watching us. I took another deep breath, grabbed some of the anxiety meds in my pocket. Nice. He is seeking help? Getting treatment? Phenomenal. And swallow them down with some mineral water I'd had bought ahead of time. What up, Portian? It would take 15 minutes for them to kick in. Those 15 minutes were always pretty rough. I laughed at myself a little and sat down on one of the reception desk's chairs. Quick saved. Interesting. The table was filled with leaflets, pamphlets, and other things for the attendees. Instead of using a laser beam we fart into the Large Hadron Collider, does it become a particle accelerator? I think Lenia would appreciate that dad joke. Yeah, but fart. It's pretty good though. I'll give you that. My eyes wandered to one of the pamphlets. Nakabachi theory and the genealogy of pseudoscience. Interesting. The brand you built for yourself, Linnea. I know. Not a lot of people have the audacity of having a fart voiced mod on their channel. You're one of the very few that I've seen. The pamphlet was for Professor Izaki's seminar. Nakabachi theory. The paper he'd announced in Russia. that paper held the key for creating a real time machine. That bastard is still alive. It's me mad. Okay, now the music is very quiet, yeah? I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. On that day, July 28th, Nakabachi had stolen paper from Kurisu, his own daughter, and left with it. I knew that. Only Nakabachi and I knew that. Well, I turned it up, so if it sounds good now, then it's good. Because I couldn't hear it for a while, so I flipped through the pamphlet. It was a brief introduction to the many forms of pseudoscience and fake scientific discoveries that had emerged since the start of the 20th century. On its own, it did make for an interesting reading. And at the end of the pamphlet, Nakabachi theory was introduced as nothing more than another entry in that long list of fakes. So Dr. Nakabachi's time machine theory had been completely ignored by the academic world. All the glory, fame, and power he had wanted so badly that he was willing to get rid of his own daughter, he didn't get any of it. How long after Steins Gate was zero launch? What do you mean by that? So we are on November 23rd. So it's only 3 months since we tried to save Kurisu and failed. And Kurisu had died another 3 weeks prior to that, so we're like maybe 4 months after the death of Kurisu and 3 months after the escape of Nakabachi. Oh, title launch day. I have no idea. If someone wants to Google that, please be my guest. I can look it up after in a bit though. And I heard rumors that after the announcement, he'd been imprisoned in a Russian lab. To make it even funnier, he thought he was getting VIP treatment. For a short time, there were essays and interviews in bogus academic journals. Even there, it was obvious it had all gone to his head. The ironic thing that Nakabachi theory was completely correct and completely revolutionary. So about 10 years after. No way Steins Gate is released in 2016. Really? No, Steins Gate is 2009. And then Steins Gate 0 is 2018. Yeah, no. I think the 2016 date that you have might be a Steam release date, not the original, because originally it was only for I think Xbox or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah. So Steins Gate, the original form, when it was first released in limited platforms, was 2009. I don't think it's a remaster. If it's a remaster, then they should have fixed a lot of the text issues in that game. But yeah, no, it's been a while. There are more games than Steins Gate and 0. Yes, there's a lot of There's a couple more. I think one of them is a dating sim. That's like unrelated to the main story. The Russian government was worried about it leaking, and the SVR was doing everything it could to keep it under wraps. All right, tell me more. Oh, Elite is the remaster. Steins Gate Elite is like fully voiced. It's meant to be more of a experience that's more similar to the animation, I think, to the anime. And that's why I didn't choose that one. Like, instead of, you know, the very visual novel-esque cutscenes, I think you actually would get, like, animated pieces in Steins Gate Elite. That's what I read. I don't know if it's true. All right, SVR, short for Foreign Intelligence Service of the Russian Federation, abbreviated as CBP in Russian, Russia's external intelligence agency. After the dissolution of the Committee of State Security, KGB, the SVR was established, modeled after the KGB's first chief directorate, which was in charge of foreign intelligence. Their HQ is located south of Moscow, in the Yasenevo district. I just butchered that probably. There are other intelligence agencies in Russia as well, such as the main directorate of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation. Oh, that's a lot of the GRU, and the Federal Security Service, FSB. Each of them has their own territory and specialization in the field of intelligence. But under that surface, there was a full-scale information war beginning over the paper. The time traveler from 2036, John Titor, had told me so, which meant it had to be true. John Titor, a self-proclaimed time traveler from 2036 who appeared on an American internet message board in November of 2000. The internet went into an uproar after Titor's appearance, flooding the board with questions and debate. Titor went on to post pictures of his time machine and its operation manual, as well as diagrams illustrating time machine mechanics. He also disclosed information on near-future events, time travel physics, history interference, the multiverse, timelines, and world lines. And then, 4 months after his initial appearance, he left a comment saying, "I will be leaving this world line shortly, and this will be my final post," and disappeared. I will come back to you later. Was World War III really going to happen? There was no point in thinking about it. Just a little more before the drugs kick in. Hi, Wild! How are you doing? I closed my eyes. We have accomplished close to absolutely nothing in the hour that we've been going at this. Oh! We've upgraded our phone. It's no longer a stupid flip phone. We have a touch screen. Oh, the wonders of technology. And we have Line. Incredible. Mayuri, Okarin, are things going okay with Mr. Seminar? Mr. Seminar? Oh, she has... That's such a cute sticker. Welcome to the future. Thank you very much. Several hours later, the convention was going well. After Professor Izaki's seminar, most of the students from my university went home, but I killed some time and came back. I wanted to hear the Victor Condria lecture. headed to the hall with plenty of time to spare and saw Hyazo Maho coming from the staff room. She was with a very tall foreigner. Was that Alexis Leskinen? Leskinen. It didn't seem like an American name, but maybe he was an immigrant like Kurisu, or at least descended from one. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the look on their faces were so serious that I couldn't help but listen. Since they were both speaking English, I could barely make out any of it, but I could tell from their voices that it wasn't a pleasant chat. Wait, did I just hear the word makise? I hated the fact that I couldn't speak English. If I had known this was going to happen, I would have taken more English lessons. The two of them walked into the waiting room for lectures. It was located right next to the UPX theater. I put together a few fragments I was able to understand. Fire at Kurisu's house. Mrs. Makise is all right. Robbery. The police called off the investigation. Why was the FBI there? It doesn't make sense. Alright, do we need a tip on FBI? Let's go. FBI, short for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, an American police organization that is attached to the Department of Justice and handles crimes that occur on American soil. Approximately 30,000 people work for the FBI, and whenever crimes take place involving a wide area in multiple states, the FBI investigates under federal law. I think that's what they were saying. Kurisu's house? Did they mean where she lived in America? Her mother should still live in America. Is that where the fire was? And then where's robbery and the investigation was called off? I really wanted to know more. I stood there and worried until it was time for the lecture to begin. With nothing else to do, I went inside the theater. I could tell earlier by looking at the size of the crowd going inside, but it was a very high energy crowd. The atmosphere was clearly different than Izaki's seminar, which was mostly students there for credit. The place was nearly full with a crowd of scientists and people who wanted to learn about cutting-edge technology. Victor Condria's researchers had published a slate of papers in Science recently and had gotten a lot of media attention. Maybe that's why. Were there any empty seats? I found a single empty seat at the edge. But when I looked at who was sitting next to it, I moaned. Moika. Still using a flip phone. You again? Kiryu Moika was there. She was speaking to no one, just typing endlessly into her phone. I'd once named her Shining Finger because of her incredible typing speed, and she was as fast as ever. Who was she talking to? I didn't even want to imagine. I quickly turned away and looked for another seat. Dr. Leskinen reached the podium almost the exact same instant I sat down. Oh, this is going to be another one of those scenes, isn't it? Just going to be a dump of information that's too big for my brain. Let's go. I'm ready. There was a huge wave of applause. But when they saw the tiny girl come up next to him, the applause faded into confused murmurs. Maho must have expected this. Her expression didn't change in the slightest as she stood next to the professor. In fact, when she took the microphone from the professor and looked around the theater, she looked like she belonged there.
Ladies and gentlemen.
First, Dr. Leskinen began to speak in English. When he made eye contact with Maho, she began to interpret.
Thank you for attending.
皆さん、 本日は私のセミナーに集まってくださって感謝します。ビクトル・コンドリア大学脳科学研究所のアレクシス・レスキネンです。専門は脳信号処理システムおよび人工知能理論になります。
I think it's kind of hilarious that the Alexis Luskinen's voice is like very bot-like. It's very robotic.
そして私は助手のヒアジョウ真帆です。同じく脳科学研究所で教授の指導に沿って研究をしています。よろしく。
The audience started murmuring again. That was the same way I responded when I met her. Well, that'll happen, yeah.
では早速ですが、私たちの最先端研究の一端をご紹介します。
Okay, never mind. It could have been, it maybe was actual person voicing over Luskinen, but...
テーマは人工知能革命としましたが、これからデモンストレーションするシステムはおそらく皆さんの想像を超えたものではないかと思っています。
Tips. Artificial intelligence, also known as AI. AI appears in all sorts of ways, from control systems with self-learning abilities to programs possessing human-like thinking routines. Due to all of these new advances, the definition has gradually moved away from its original form and sees a much wider use nowadays. Welcome in. Hello, we are at Steins Gate 0. We just started, so you haven't missed much. I hope you're doing well. Happy Monday, Tuesday, depending on where you may be. Dr. Leskinen stood in front of the laptop that had been placed on a podium and started to type.
このパソコンですが、研究所のスーパーコンピューターの一つと接続されています。ああ、まだプロジェクターには映さないで。
You never played it? Well, welcome. We get to experience it together. I've never played this either. So I assume that you have played Steins Gate, and this is essentially the story of Okabe Rintaro if we never successfully save Kurisu. We remain in this world line and we live it out. One of the staffers was about to display the laptop screen on the front projector. Some kind of important program must have been booting up because Hyazo Maho stopped them.
すみません、まだ開発途中なんです。非常に美的センスのないプログラムが画面いっぱいに溢れ返っています。こんなチープなプログラムを見られるのは恥ずかしい。裸を見られるよりもね。
I don't want to see you I don't want to see you naked. Thank you. I'll look at the place.
この中にエンジニアの方がいるなら理解していただけますよね。
Some of the audience got the professor's joke and laughed.
起動するまでの間、このシステム全体の概略を説明しましょう。
It's funny that one of the theories about time travel is that if it's possible to alter causality by going back in time, then most probable timeline is one where time travel doesn't exist, because changes in the past were prevented from being invented. I see what you mean, because there would be no need for it in the future or something like that? Or just sheer butterfly effects. There was another projector in the center of the stage. A diagram appeared on its screen. And at the top of the diagram was a Japanese translation for the general audience. An analysis of memory-related nerve impulses in a temporal lobe. Doesn't that have Kurisu written all over it? An electrical nerve impulse, an electrical signal or stimulus that travels through the nerve cells of an organism, has the ability to quickly transmit information between tissues. Temporal lobe, a region of the cerebrum located at the side of the brain. It controls memory, judgment, emotional restraint, hearing, and more. It is used for accessing the hippocampus, which is located in the limbic system. I knew that title well. In fact, I was sure I could never forget it. It was the title of an essay written by a 17-year-old genius and published in Science. She had completely analyzed the nerve impulse patterns that governed human memory and used that to digitize the memories themselves into data. And she had used that to invent the time leap machine right in front of my eyes, though none of that had actually happened anymore.
サイエンス誌に掲載されたので、ご存知の方もいるでしょう。これは私たちのチームにいた天才的な日本人研究者によって提唱され、完成されたものです。
マホ。
人間の記憶は大脳皮質、とりわけ側頭葉に記録されます。いわゆるフラッシュメモリみたいなもの。
Cerebral cortex, the grayed color external layer of the human brain. The cerebral cortex is only a few millimeters thick, but it contains over 10 billion neurons in countless layers. It is the central core governing sensation, movement, and mental activity. Different parts of the cerebral cortex handle different functions.
そのメモリに記憶を書き込んだり、読み出したりするのが側頭葉にある海馬傍回という部位になります。
All these biology words that I can't pronounce. Help. Parahippocampal gyrus? The region of the brain surrounding the hippocampus. The hippocampus is the part of the brain that controls memories and spatial recognition, while the parahippocampal gyrus is in charge of spatial reasoning and the sensation of familiarity. It also plays an important role in memory encoding and retrieval. Hundreds of neurons at once through his research. Ooh. That's neat.
脳はニューロンと呼ばれる細胞の間を電気信号が伝わっていくことで働いています。
I didn't read this one. Dr. Leskinen pointed to the diagram of the brain and hippocampus on the screen. The brain functions by sending, neurons. We're gonna save the tips a little bit and let it collect a little bit this time, because otherwise we'll be flipping between tips and the main content like every other sentence.
記憶というのも実はこういった電気信号の伝わりの一つなのです。その働きを制御しているのが海馬傍回と言ってもいいでしょう。つまり電気信号が海馬傍回を出入りすることで記憶は作られていくんですね。そこでマキセ・クリスはこの論文を書いた日本人研究者です。
Interesting. They aren't even allowed to name her?
牧瀬研究員は考えました。カイバー妨害を通る電気信号が電気信号のパターンと大脳皮質の
Maho started to have trouble with her interpreting. She was getting confused. No matter how good you were with languages, interpreting for a long period of time had to be difficult. I'd once read an article on the internet that said even a professional can't do it for more than 20 minutes. International conferences and live broadcasts from overseas were actually handled by a team of people switching off. Or maybe, was she having trouble because Kurisa's name came up? Dr. Luskinen saw she was having trouble and cut himself
すみま
off.
せん。牧瀬研究員はカイバー妨害を出入りする電気信号のパターンに着目しました。そのパターンが大脳皮質のどの記憶と対応しているのか解析を行って完全なデータを得たのです。これによって記憶という曖昧でアナログなものを電気信号のパターンの組み合わせというデジタルなものに変換する基礎理論が確立されたのです。これがサイエンス誌に掲載された彼女の論文です。そして現在、私たちのチームはその理論をもとに人間の記憶をデジタルデータとして取得するシステムを開発しています。
A wave of whispers swept across the theater.
それはすなわち、人間の記憶をコンピューターに保存し、それを活用するシステムということになります。
The whispers turned into a low roar. I see. So even after her death, Kurisa's research was being carried on. Of course, it was natural that it would be. That was the basic theory for time leaping, which I had proved myself, even if I could never prove it to anyone else in the Alpha War Line. My memories had been turned into data and stored on a computer. There was no doubt about that. And what Dr. Luskinen was talking about right now was the basic technology required for that process.
現在、私たちが行っているプロジェクトは主に2つです。1つは医療分野への応用です。
The slide on the projector changed.
こちらは精神生理学研究所と共同で行っているプロジェクトです。コンピューターに保存した記憶データを海馬妨害を通して再び元の脳に書き戻すというもので、
Data transfer, establishing connection, transferring, writing back up.
Incredible!
Incredible! Unbelievable! Someone who looked like a grad student in the front row shouted. Dr. Luskinen didn't seem particularly put off by the interruption. Maho continued her interpretation.
信じがたいですか。その気持ちは理解できます。私も皆さんの立場であればそう言ったでしょう。しかし、この研究に私たちは手応えを感じています。これが実用化できればどんなに素晴らしいことでしょう。 例えば老化による記憶障害、あとはアルツハイマーなど、そうしたものへの対処療法が期待できます。
Day, good times. I have an herbal because I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so can't actually have caffeinated tea at night. But green and black tea together, separate, I hope. Sounds good though. Tips. All right, let's read this. Neuron. This is the first one that we encountered. Also known as nerve cells, a type of cell specialized for information processing. Nerve impulses travel through these cells in order to transfer various types of information, making neurons quite similar to mechanical transmitters. Symptomatic therapy, treatments intended not to cure the cause of a disease, but to alleviate its symptoms and reduce the pain. Painkillers and fever reducers are examples of this. Together, double caffeine, oh my gosh. I don't know how you sleep.
患者の記憶をデータとして自動的にバックアップしていくのです。記憶が失われたとしても、その都度 PC にアクセスし、脳内にデータを再インストールすることが可能です。
It's very dystopian to use the word reinstall on human memories, is it not? I love it. Let's go.
それによって忘却の進行を食い止められるのではないか。私たちはそう考えています。最終的には海馬傍回から PC 内の記憶データに常時アクセスできるようになるでしょう。そうすれば脳機能が失われた状態、例えば脳が激しく損傷したり萎縮してしまった場合などですが、
Oh, atrophied. Okay. Interesting word choice in terms of translation.
そのような状態でも変わらず脳機能を維持できます。あたかも外部ストレージと同じように。
A strange feeling gripped the hall. Part of it was shock and the feeling that they were witnessing the announcement of an incredible technology. Part of it was skepticism that a system like this could ever actually work. Part of it was revulsion at the idea of playing around with a human brain like that. An excitement born of all these things passed from one member of the crowd to another. Dr. Leskinen raised his hand to encourage questions.
どうやら2つ目のプロジェクトをお話しする前に質問を受け付けないといけないようですね。できる範囲でお答えします。どうぞ。
Many hands were raised. I could tell that there was a wide age range of people interested. Both young and old were raising their hands. Dr. Leskinen pointed to a questioner. This was the first question. Sampling would be required when digitizing analog memories. Does that mean any information would be lost? All right, please help me. External storage. A data storage unit that can be detached from a computer, cell phone, or other electronic device. Some examples include external hard drives and flash drives. Sampling, the act of taking data at regular intervals. The professor nodded as he listened to the question in Japanese and began to respond in English when the speaker finished. Maybe he was able to understand Japanese, if not speak it.
その質問を言い換えると、 オーケストラの生演奏を WAV のデータに保存する際、生演奏のすべてを完璧に記録することはできないと。確かにその懸念はあります。現在の研究で最も困難な問題の一つです。脳内のネットワークが神経伝達物質のオンオフだけで、つまり二進数的にデータのやり取りをしているのであれば簡単な問題でした。それはデジタルデータと同じことだからです。しかし実際には伝達物質や電気信号は脳内でアナログ的に変化することが分かっています。この問題に関しては今のところより高いサンプリングレートでデータをサンプルする方法しか手段を持っていません。音楽の話で言えば 44.1kHz よりも 48kHz、 48kHz よりも 96kHz でサンプリングするといった具合です。それによってデジタルでありながらアナログデータに近い情報を得ようとしています。
Little by little, the mood in the room was turning to disappointment. People were beginning to wonder if this was just a pretty theory that wouldn't work in reality. More questions came. All of the questioners were skeptical of the professor's theory, and many of them seemed to be outright challenging him. I started to get upset. This was Dr. Leskinen's research, but it was also Kuris's. I knew better than anyone that it worked, and the sight of so many people refusing to give it a chance infuriated me. Were these people really scientists? I tried to keep myself under control and looked back towards the podium. Was she mad? She certainly looked disappointed. Dr. Leskinen was very polite with the rude questioners, acknowledging the problems with the theory. She was very different. Her anger was starting to seep into her interpreting too. I felt a kind of kinship with her. The question and answer session continued.
そもそもこれは医学的に無謀でしょう。デジタルデータを脳に書き戻すなんて絶対に不可能だ。正気の沙汰ではない。サイエンス誌に掲載されたあの論文も読みましたが、にわかには信じられない。ましてや筆頭著者が若干17歳の女性だったとあっては。
Ageism. Good times. That was the one thing I could not ignore.
あなたね。
Maho was mad. Come on. Okay, some things never change. Excellent.
あ
I like her already. The two people on the stage, the entire audience, all turned towards me at once.
やってみもしないで何がわかるって言うんだ。最初は無理だと思われてた技術なんてこの世にいくらでもあるじゃないか。でもそれを克服した研究者がいたからこそ今があるんだろう。ただ批判するだけじゃ何も生まれない。
I mean, actually fair. Constructive criticism is great. The whole theater went silent, but I didn't regret standing up.
あなた。
On the stage, Hyajumaho was staring at me in shock. As for Dr. Leskinen, I saw a flash of white teeth as our eyes meet.
Awesome. He's wearing something.
He started to applaud. Why is he applauding? That just makes things embarrassing.
素晴らしい。彼はなかなか大したやつだ。ですって。
Maho translated the professor's words for me to hear.
Nonetheless, a scientist
た
must
だし、
always remain composed.
科学者たるもの常に冷静でなければいけない。
The only time when it is
大声
possible
で怒
to
鳴って
shout
いい
is
のは
when your
実験
experiment
が
is a
成功した
success and you
時
say,
の
"We did it,"
We did it
and that should be enough.
それだけで十分だそうですよ。
すみません。
I lowered my head and sat down. I had thought I was calm, but I guess I let my emotions get away from me. I hadn't grown up at all in the past 6 months. If Kurisu was here, she'd make fun of me again. I could feel the rest of the audience staring at me coldly. It hurt. If I could have left, I would have wanted to, but I was too interested in hearing the rest of Dr. Leskinen's talk to move.
And anyway, moving on.
それでは皆さん、そろそろ次に。
Oh, first, a round of
で
applause,
も、
please, for
そ
our
の
great
前
friend.
に勇敢な彼に拍手をお願いします。
He's really making this very embarrassing for him, isn't it? Oh no, please no.
Men like him are what
彼
drives
のような
scientific
挑
progress
戦者
and
こそが
end up the
科学を
core
進歩させ、
remarkable series.
あっと驚くような理論を作り上げるのです。
He may even become the third
彼なら
Einstein.
きっと第3のアインシュタインになれるかもしれませんね。
Are we gonna bring back Hoin Kyoma? That would be excellent. I kind of miss him. Einstein. Albert Einstein, 1879-1955, a German Jew known by many as the father of modern physics. Einstein developed many important theories, including the theory of general relativity and the theory of special relativity, winner of the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics.
The second Einstein, of course,
ちなみ
became
に
my slightly
第
fussy
2のアイン
assistant
シュタ
here.
インはここにいるちょっと小うるさい私の助手。
Oh.
変なこと言うのはやめてください、教授。
The audience chuckled. Sheesh.
さて、ここで私はしばらく通訳をお休みさせていただきます。これから私よりも優秀な通訳が登場します。これが私たちのチームが今最も力を入れている2つ目のプロジェクト。アマデウスシステムです。
Amadeus? Deuce? When she finished speaking, Maho walked to the back of the stage. At Dr. Leskinen's signal, the PC screen was displayed on the projector. And then I heard a voice.
皆さん、初めてお目にかかります。
I love it. Maho? Question mark? An AI interpreter. This is where we're going, too. The murmuring got louder than before, but it felt more uncertain than surprised. On the screen, I could see a detailed 3D model of Maho, the girl who had just been interpreting.
ちなみにこれは映画などで有名なドリンクワークススタジオに作成してもらったモデルです。
Drinkworks. I love it. This game. The writers are so unfazed. Drinkworks Studio, fictional, an American film production company that primarily produces CGI animated movies. Yazumaho chimed in from the back of the stage.
声については私のボイスサンプルをデータベースにして日本の山名が作ってくれました。
Yamana an instrument manufacturer that was founded in the 19th century. In the 2000s, the company began to develop and sell text-to-speech software, music software, and other miscellaneous programs for PCs. This was CG? It surely looked real to me. The professor said something into the laptop's microphone. And then the 3D model of Hiyajo Maho on the screen opened its mouth.
私はヒヤジョウマホです。正確に言うなら、78時間22分前のヒヤジョウマホから派生した存在ということになります。
Enjoy the lurk, no problem, Hordian. You're like, this is us just going through, and so I guess they have somehow digitized her memories, potentially, to make this AI. If you listen carefully, you might have been able to hear something slightly off, but it sounded far more human than any artificial voice I had ever heard.
先ほどから皆さんの質問を聞かせていただいていました。教授はどうして私を早く紹介しないのかと、とてももどかしく思っていましたよ。
Sure. I mean, I have heard that the Steins Gate Zero anime further deviates from the visual novel than the Steins Gate's anime relative to the Steins Gate visual novel. So it might not be like as closely adapted.
以前から感じていましたが、どうも教授は人が悪いようですね。
Why Suzuha went back to set up the John Titor stuff? I mean, yeah, I wonder what there must be something going on around that time, right? That made her travel to it back in the year 2000. Oh. I mean, I think basically, I think it makes sense because in the original Steins Gate, and this is more like the beta timeline, alpha timeline, excuse me, but Suzuha had mentioned that there were a few significant dividing points in, you know, like where, what is it called? The attractor fields occur, right? Like, or when they split. And they did say that the year 2000 was one of them with the millennial problem, right? So maybe she was trying to go there to change something in the world line so that she could stop this, whatever world that she was coming from. I don't know. That's just my guess, because that's why she was in 1975 and then in 2000 and then 2010, right? The Hiyajo Maho on the screen spoke with slightly irritated expression, and the Hiyajo Maho by the wall nodded in agreement. Dr. Leskinen simply smiled. What was going on here? What part of this was their biggest project? The rest of the audience didn't seem to have any more of a clue than I did.
皆さんの多くは疑問に思っています。人間の記憶をデータとして取り出したり、それを保存したり、さらにはそのデータを活用したり。 そんなことが本当に可能なのかと。それでは私は一体何でしょうか。
Would you say? I think change her would have changed the future that lead to her existing, but not significantly enough that she stops her existing, probably to make Okabe scream at Clarice's father about John Titor, or to even just because Dr. Nakabatsu, right, took from John Titor's. This is the problem with time loop. Like, my brain can't keep up. As to where it starts and where it ends, because it doesn't have a start or has an end. But if you think about it, like, would Nakabashi paper exist without John Titor in 2000? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get answers. Maybe we'll have answers.
私は78時間23分前のヒア城真帆の脳内から取り出された記憶を持ち、そのデータをベースにして動いているのです。
Right, Chris wrote it, but I wonder if she got interested in his research and whether or not a lot of what she leveraged and began with was what John Titor was writing or was thinking about. What did she just say? The professor said something else in rapid English and asked the Maho on the screen to translate it. But she, if, quote, she, unquote, was the right word, hesitated and went silent. I looked at the real Maho and she was responding exactly the same way.
教授、今のは。教授、今の発言はセクシャルハラスメントとして大学に訴えてもいいでしょうか?
So they were able to like replicate her personality almost. So they're like nearly replicating human consciousness. Dr. Leskinen laughed cheerfully and responded to her. The conversation was in quick English, and over half the audience couldn't understand it. The real Maho sighed and took back the microphone.
教授はですね、私に対して、いえ、私の記憶で動作しているこのアマデウスに対して質問に答えてごらんと言いました。いつ頃までパパとお風呂に入っていたかとか、初恋はいつだったかとか、何でも答えられるだろうと。ああ、もうそれ以上通訳しなくていいわ。恥ずかしいからやめてくれないかしら。私はそういう質問には一切答えないわよ。
Interesting. So it has a personality for sure. The professor said something else, and the Maho on the screen groaned and turned
クレ
away.
ジットカードの番号なんてもっと言えません。あと、1週間前に着ていたパジャマの色なんて覚えてるわけないです。
What was this? It was so natural I couldn't tell at first, but this was something unbelievable, wasn't it? It felt very different than a typical AI, I could tell that much. It wasn't answering the questions it was given, and because they were embarrassing? Was it programmed to respond like that to certain questions for the purposes of this demonstration? it was possible that's all it was, but if that conversation wasn't programmed in advance, the rest of the crowd seemed to reach the same conclusion I did, and the whispers started to turn into surprised murmur.
ねえちょっといい加減このいたずらな子供を何とかしてくれないかしら。何をしたいのか理解はできるけど、とにかく恥ずかしいわ。
The copy of Maho was complaining to the original. It felt like I was watching a pair of twin sisters talking.
いたずらな子供ではなく、レスキネン教授が面白がってなかなか説明してくれないので、代わりに私がお話しします。
Maho walked back to the professor.
皆さん、もうお分かりかと思いますが、アマデウスは自分が話していいこととそうでないこと、あるいは話したいことと話したくないことを自ら判断して喋っています。私たちはアマデウスにそういったプログラムを一切施していません。
I knew it.
彼女は与えられた私の記憶からそれを独自に判断し、自律的にそういう行動をとっているのです。
The Maho on screen suddenly took over for her.
そしてこれは先ほどの医療分野への応用とは方向性が真逆になってしまい、研究所内でもずっと議論が交わされていることですが、私は不必要な情報をいつの間にか忘れてしまう。というか、記憶の引き出しから出してこられなくなるのです。皆さんと同じようにです。例えば、1週間前に着ていたパジャマの色。確かにそれを知っていたはずなのに、今は思い出せません。
Interesting. So she has the ability also to decide what is important and what isn't.
そのような情報は生存していく上で必要がないからです。これも皆さんと同じです。このようにアマデウスは記憶のインプットやアウトプットが人間のそれと非常に近いのです。
We went from alpha to beta and then back to alpha. So like the first email that we sent about Kurisu being dead sent us to beta.
これは私たちも驚くべき結果として研究を重ねている最中で、まだ詳しくは解明されていません。
As Maho finished up, Dr. Luskinen... Oh, is it the other way around? Beta is the current one? Alpha is certain dystopia. So beta, then alpha, then beta. And then there's the Steins gate between alpha and beta, right? Okay, so we're in beta. That's so confusing. So 0 is the one in which Mayuri dies at the end. I assume when you say 0, you meant alpha, which is not related to the game. And yes, it is. As Maho finished up, Dr. Luskinen took the microphone back. She resumed interpreting as he continued the lecture.
However, what really surprised us
さらに
was that Amadeus
私たちを驚
lie.
かせたのは、アマデウスが意図して嘘をつくということ。
Oh, like in a divergence meter, whether it's 0 point something versus 1 point something? Yeah, you're right. So we're in like the 1 point X universe. Yes, you're correct about that. She's
何らかのトラブルや
capable
ミスではなく
Damn.
わざとそうするのです。
And she has free will.
嘘は人間が他人とコミュニケーションを取る上での一つの手法です。アマデウスもインプットされた記憶を自律的に検討し、必要であれば自分や他人のために平気で嘘をつきます。教授、誤解を招くような言い方はやめてください。
So she is very self-serving. Interesting. I wonder if we need to be concerned about digital interactions with Maho in general now. So we went from 1 towards 0 by doing D-mails. No, we went to 0 by like that single D-mail, right? Like that first D-mail that we sent. Without knowing that it's a D-mail. Got us to 0. And then we stayed within 0 through a bunch of D-mails. And then we were trying to go back into 1 by undoing D-mails. And by undoing like the last D-mail, we're removing from CERN's database that D-mail that we accidentally sent about Kurisa's death. We're back at 0. I mean, we're back at 1. Oh my god, I can't keep this straight. We're back at 1, yes.
「嘘をつくのに平気なことなんてありません。私だって両親が咎めます。
I'm so sorry, and
Dr. Leskinen cut off. He seemed to be hesitating. Maho didn't seem especially surprised by this. Maybe she knew the reason. But a moment passed, and the professor continued. And Maho translated his words like there was nothing shocking about them at all.
this has led us to some
この
interesting
ような検
conclusions.
証を続けていくことで、最終的に私たちは
For one, we believe it's possible
ア
for
マデウス
Amadeus
に
to eventually
人
possess
間
a
と
mind
同様の
functionally
魂を
identical
宿すことができるのではないかと考えています。
I was stunned. A soul? Should one of the leading brain scientists in the world really be using a word with such a vague definition?
In other words, true
これこそ
artificial intelligence.
本当の意味での人工知能ということになります。
The whole hall got very quiet. And it was sheer chaos for a while after that, as everyone tried to debate their own personal theories with Dr. Leskinen at once. It was thanks to Izaki that I was able to get into the reception held after the ATF was over. They told me there was a dress code, so I went all the way back to my parents' house to get a suit to change into. We get to see Rintaro in a suit? At first, all that effort paid off as Izaki introduced me to some of the country's top researchers. Riken, JAXA, IMIS, etc. I am not following. Tips, let's go. Alright. Riken, short for the Institute of Physical and Chemical Research. Founded in 1917, Riken is Japan's only comprehensive natural science-based institute. Research at Riken covers a variety of fields such as physics, engineering, chemistry, computational science, biology, and medicine. While the main site is in Wako City, Saitama Prefecture, there are campuses in the Hyogo and Kanagawa prefectures, as well as a few other locations throughout Japan. Additionally, Riken also has research centers in America, England, and other countries. JAXA, short for Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, an independent administrative institution established in 2003 through the merging of the Institute of Space and Astronautical Science, ISAS, and National Aerospace Laboratory of Japan, NAL, and the National Space Development Agency of Japan, NASDA. The main focus of the institution is research and development into space and aviation. In addition of its headquarters in Chofu, Tokyo, JAXA possesses several other aerospace and observation centers, including ones in Sagamihara, Kanagawa Prefecture, Tsukuba, Iwaki Prefecture, Usuda, Nagano Prefecture, and many others throughout Japan. JAXA only has 2 rocket launch sites, both of which are in Kagoshima Prefecture. One is located in Uchinoura, and the other is in Tanegashima. These are the only rocket launch sites in Japan. As of March 2010, it employs around 1,500 people. The last one, Institute of Material Structure Science, a laboratory at the High Energy Accelerator Research Organization, also known as KIC. That's pretty good. Located at Tsukuba, Ibaraki Prefecture. It primarily conducts research using particle accelerators in order to investigate the structure and properties of matter. Okay, theory time. Okabe dies in 10 years. Does his mind get copied into machine or the rest of the 15 years? Would that make sense? Wouldn't make sense, right? Okabe dies in 10 years? He dies in 15, doesn't he? I don't know anymore. I'm here for the ride. I don't remember. I don't remember the timing of things anymore. Oh, we have a text. Online. I can't believe you get to go to a fancy party. Die in fire, Mr. Fancy Pants. There's nobody to talk to and I'm bored. You spend too much time without her. It's good to have like some normal social interactions. Well, that kind of place has never been your style, Karin. That's right. The only person I know here is my own professor, so I'm not sure what to do. Oh, that is adorable. I love that. I think I'm gonna really like the phone aspect of it. But before long, Izaki ran off to suck up to some university professor, and I was left completely abandoned. My own personal target, Dr. Leskinen, was surrounded by a bunch of famous scientists. It didn't feel like a mere student would be welcome. So all I did was stand around and eat from the buffet by the wall. Best way to attend an after party, by the way. To be honest, I couldn't tell if the food was any good or not. Whenever my glass got empty, a smiling waiter was always around to fill it up again, so I found myself drinking more than I intended. My stomach was already so full, it hurts. The whole place felt like it was another world.
やっぱりこういうのには向かないわ。
Sink! At the exact same moment I spoke, I heard a girl next to me say the exact same thing. Surprised, I looked over at her. Our eyes met. Okay, I don't know if this means anything or if this is just like a translation intent, but I'm gonna hold on to this thought for a little bit. All of Steins Gate was written in present tense, while all of Steins Gate 0 so far has been written in past tense. I don't know if that means anything. I'm going like full conspiracy theory on this game right now. What was the middle school girl doing here? And then a moment later, I realized it was Hyazo Maho. She was wearing the exact same outfit she'd been wearing during the lecture. A lab coat in a place like this? That's just what the old me would have done.
あなたは
Maho was clearly out of place. Why? Because she was still wearing her lab coat.
なんで白衣なんです？
I couldn't help but ask.
ちゃんとした服も持ってきたつもりだったのよ。
She was sure she had, but she hadn't. And that's why she was standing in the corner, trying not to attract attention.
あなた、昼間受付にいた人ね。
岡部倫太郎です。東京電機大学の学生で、伊崎ゼミで勉強してます。
6-month-older Okarin is way more normal too. Like, where's Hon Kyoma? Where is he? Where is he? I handed her one of the business cards. He has business cards now? Unreal. I handed her one of the business cards that I had thrown together after Izaki told me I needed them. She grabbed one of her own out of a stack and carelessly put it in my hands.
いいわ。無理に丁寧に話さなくても。
That was a huge help.
珍しい名前でしょ私。
え、ああ、誰も読めないとか言ってたっけ？
I looked at the card and saw the pronunciation of her name was written in unusually large letters. That was probably because of how people kept screwing it up.
沖縄ではよくある名字なんだけれどね。
Oh, she's from Okinawa.
沖縄出身なのか？
曽祖父と曽祖母がね。移民なのよ。私はアメリカ生まれのアメリカ育ち。
ハーフにはあんまり見えないな。クォーター？
外れ。祖父祖母父母すべて日本人よ。DNA は生粋のジャパニーズ。
DNA. Oh shit. Sure for. Deoxyribonucleic acid? I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce chemistry words. The material that makes up genes, commonly referred to as genetic material. DNA resembles a long, narrow thread with a double helix structure and consists of 4 bases: adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. Deoxyribonucleic. I got the nucleic part, but it's painful still. All of which are paired off with one another. The base sequence determines the genetic information of a creature, and the number of bases varies from organism to organism. In the case of humans, the number is approximately 3.1 billion. Physics is way better than biology at names, yeah. At least they're actually memorable. Alright, so we fell into silence. And then the conversation stopped. That is a Very standard human experience. I'm a terrible conversationalist, honestly. Me too. The old me would have gone full Chunibyo and started ranting about conspiracies and magic powers, whether the other person cared or not, but you can't really call that a conversation. I had no idea what to say to somebody I had never met before. I've been working at becoming a real adult, even buying and studying men's magazines, but none of it really helped. Without anything to talk about, I looked over to Dr. Luskinen. He seemed to be giving a lecture on neurons to a bunch of scientists.
今日はすまなかったな。
何が？
いや、セミナーの途中で邪魔を。
ああ、あれね。気にすることないわ。あなたが声を上げなかったら、多分私が同じことをしていたから。許せないの、ああいう人。
いいのか、そんなこと言って。教授が言ってたじゃないか。科学者たるもの、常に冷静にって。
今のは科学者としての発言じゃないわ。だから構わないのよ。
It must have really ticked her off because she grabbed a cocktail from a passing waiter and gulped it down. Her cheeks turned a pretty shade of pink for an instant, but no longer. She might have had a high alcohol tolerance.
だけど、やっぱり良くないわね。反省する。ああいう批判は、言い方こそ悪いけれど、それでも事実には違いないんだもの。私たちの研究がまだ無謀の域から出ていないと言われれば、確かにその通りよ。
そうなのか。
取り組まなくてはいけない課題が山積みだわ。さっきセミナーで話した以上にね。例えば記憶データを元の脳に書き戻すことができても、それを脳が利用できなければ何の意味もないの。記憶があっても思い出せない状態、つまり記憶喪失の脳と同じになってしまう。
Memories are there, but you can't get to them. It's basically the same as amnesia. As Maho spoke, I remembered. I remembered all the lectures and theories that Kurisa had given me when she was making the time leap machine.
確か人間が記憶にアクセスしようとするときは前頭葉から側頭葉へ信号が行くんだったよな。
ええ、トップダウン記憶検索信号ね。
だったら
And then I started to talk, remembering what Kurisa had told me about her theories as I went. Oh. When I used specialized terminology whose meanings I barely remembered, Maho would tell me what they were.
で、最後に側頭葉に記憶を書き戻す過程で、一緒にコピーした疑似パルスを前頭葉の方に送り込めば、記憶検索信号はちゃんと働くと思う。
She's pretty impressed. Gosh darn. Damn it, Lenia, I'm picking that up from you. Gosh darn. I have a pretty good tolerance for alcohol. Not that I drink much these days, if at all. I have like a bottle cap tolerance for alcohol, so I actually don't drink at all. And I don't know. I don't particularly enjoy alcohol to begin with, so not feeling like I'm missing anything. Chunibyo, literally 8th grade syndrome. A term referring to a mindset exhibited primarily by teenage males, also used as a derogatory term to refer to older people who still exhibit this mindset, characterized by affected attitude of nihilism or cynicism, extreme self-centeredness, delusions of power or superiority, and a consuming fear of being treated as a child. The person exhibiting these symptoms believes that they are cool, but most observers find them pathetic. Chunibyo, which is often abbreviated as Chuni, also refers to the fictional tropes that teenage males often enjoy, such as ancient conspiracies, superpowers, especially powers sealed in characters' eye or arm, Norse mythology, battles for the fate of the multiverse, etc. The consummate Chunibyo case would work such elements into his own personal backstory. Okarin is a textbook example. Today, I learned that I am an 8th grade male. Excellent. How long are we going tonight? Not much longer. I'm looking for a good time to stop, actually. But we could go a little longer. We could go until 9, so maybe another 20 or so. Frontal lobe. A region of cerebrum located at the front of the brain and controls thought, will, action, movement, creativity, and more. The frontal lobe can be further divided by location into prefrontal cortex, motor cortex, and premotor cortex. Retrieval signals. Nerve impulses in the cerebrum that are sent from the frontal lobe to the temporal lobe during memory retrieval.
あなた、それを自分で導き出したの？
So we're using like ex-girlfriend knowledge to impress a new girl. Not intentionally, but something feels wrong about that. But also kind of cute, right? If you think about it, it's almost like her ghost is looking after him. Not really an ex-girlfriend. We never broke up, it's true. Maho looked back at the business card I had given her.
脳科学専攻じゃないわね。ということは誰かに？それとも論文で？うん、それはないわ。まだ論文にはまとめられてなかったはず。
Future past dead alive girlfriend. Our zombie girlfriend who exists in the limbo of time.
何かおかしいこと言ったか、俺。
そうじゃなくて、私の後輩がね、全く同じ理論を提唱していたことがあるのよ。
Interesting. She used the word kohai, so she is her senior. I guess that makes sense in terms of age.
どのスタッフもずっと懐疑的だったけど、彼女だけは絶対に証明できるって言い張っていたわ。結局、実証試験に進む前に彼女はいなくなっちゃったんだけど。
それは。
Should I tell her? Should I tell her about me and Kurisu? In this world line, there's almost no connection between me and Kurisu.
どうしたの？
I made up my mind. If I wanted to follow my dreams, I needed to act.
実はこの理論、クリスからレクチャーされた。
え？今、なんて？
牧瀬クリスが教えてくれたんだよ。
クリスがあなたに？いつ？どうして？
彼女がこっちに留学してた時だ。友達になってこういう話をよくした。
Of course, that was a lie. Kurisu and I became friends in the Alpha world line, not this one. But a small lie like this was probably okay.
そうだったの。
Oh.
あのクリスが。ありがとう。感謝するわ。
Her words surprised me. That was the one thing I didn't expect to hear.
何が？
彼女と友達になってくれてよ。日本に来てたった一人で。
Oh.
たった一人で勉強していてもきっとつまらなかったと思うから。
No, we didn't. We said that we're Kurisa's friend that she made while being in like an exchange student or something. So we
口
didn't
喧嘩ば
reveal
っかりだったけどな。
the time traveling aspect of it all.
あの子らしいわね。絶対に負けを認めなかったでしょう。
ああ、へりくつばっかりこねていた。
It's actually kind of beautiful in a way that like we get to have this conversation with someone else about Kurisu. Like that must be very therapeutic to Okarin because he has, I don't know if he has anyone else to talk to about Kurisu at all. Like no one in this world knew her, right? Like all the memories that the lab shared with Kurisu has been undone.
ロボトミー手術してあんたの前頭葉を書き出してやるぞとかよく言われたし。
Lobotomy. Oh my god. A lobotomy, a surgical brain treatment for mental disorders. In this procedure, a small hole is made in a skull and a frontal lobe is severed with a long scalpel. There are cases where this technique has cured mental disorders, even enough to earn the inventor a Nobel Prize. However, the technique has also caused serious side effects, including loss of humanity. By the 1970s, lobotomies has been banned worldwide.
まさかそんなこと。クリスなら言いそうね。
だろ？ちゃんと後輩の教育をしておいてほしかった。
その点に関しては認めるわ。陳謝します。
I also like how much more varied the characters' expressions has been relative to Steins Gate original. I appreciate that a lot. Oh, don't cry, Maho. Maho, no. She smiled, or so I thought, and then all of a sudden she started to cry.
どうした？
I didn't have any better ideas, so I grabbed my handkerchief. She didn't seem to know why she was crying herself. And neither did I. Had I said something during the conversation that set her off?
大丈夫か？
平気よ。ごめんなさい。
Oh. You're happy to report that you're better from your cold. Excellent. Recovery is great. That's the road to recovery, Hordian. The mucus and the coughs. She didn't take my handkerchief. Instead, she took a tissue out of her pocket and wiped her eyes.
You can know Dyson Einstein.
え？
I turned around and saw Dr. Luskanen smiling and quickly striding towards me. He grabbed my hand as he got closer. The handshake was incredibly forceful. Actually, that's something very weird that I experienced when I was in Japan. So I don't know about you guys, but like I've always been taught that like shaking hands, you know, you need to be firm. Like a good firm handshake is important. But when I was in Japan, it's like, I don't know, handshakes aren't as common, which I guess makes sense. But whenever I had a handshake, it's like it's very gentle. So I think it makes sense that like Okarin was very like surprised by a firm handshake and even took it as a forceful handshake. Blondes are sus in this universe, at least the one that killed our friends multiple times. He seems nice so far, although I have my suspicions. No, not just his hand. Standing in front of me, he looked even bigger than he had during the lecture. I'm pretty tall, but he was at least a head taller than me.
教授、俺、
Uh-oh. It was all so sudden that I couldn't even think of an introduction. And wait, did he just speak in Japanese?
しかし、私の助手を泣かせてしまったのは見過ごせないね。
いや、これは。
Moika did seem fine that far before unloading the SMGs. That is true. But like, everyone is suspicious, right?
違います、教授。私が勝手に。彼は関係ないですから。
Maho and I both denied it as much as we could. But I didn't know why Maho was crying, so I couldn't come up with any excuses. I just started to panic even more.
つまり
クリスです。彼とクリスの話をしていたら、いろいろ感情が溢れてしまって。
Oh.
Chris? 君はクリスの友人？
Chris.
それは。はい。
岡部倫太郎さん、学生だそうです。
Oh, honorifics. All right. Honorifics, Japanese. Japanese employs a system of name suffixes that define a speaker's relationship to the addressee. The common honorifics are as follows. San, the most common honorific. Used of strangers, people of equal status, and in general whenever one needs to be polite. When used after a given name, Mayuri-san, it indicates a closer relationship. Kun, an informal name. No, I lost it. An informal name suffix generally used for male friends or male subordinates, also used by males towards female subordinates in professional environments. Tan, a diminutive suffix that indicates high affection, usually used for small children, young girls, or between close female friends. Tan, an even more diminutive version of the tan suffix, most often used for fictional characters, especially anthropomorphizations for added cuteness. That's what Daru uses for Ferris. See, a literally honorific, generally used by formal publications such as newspapers. Some otaku, such as Daru, use she regularly. Oh, so Daru is like a different kind of otaku? Interesting. Maho introduced me. Dr. Luskinen had a gentle expression on his face as he gave me a slow hug. Oh, that is too close for comfort, mister. I felt like I was going to suffocate in his massive arms. Somehow, I could tell that it was his way of remembering Kurisu.
そうですか。そういうことなら、魔法。
Maho.
はい。
ミスター岡部に会わせてあげたらどうかな、彼女を。
まさか、アマデウスを。
ここで彼に出会った偶然、その幸運を大切にしたいじゃないか。
Do they have a digitized Kurisu as well?
日本にいる間、彼にテスターになってもらってもいいよ。
本気ですか？部外者なのにそんないきなり。
クリスの友人ならば部外者ではない。
Well, okay, never
そうだろう。
mind. Maybe just Maho.
ですが
What were they talking about? Amadeus? I had no idea this was my chance to build a relationship with Dr. Leskinen. I didn't want to blow it.
俺ぜひお手伝いしたいです。
Yeah, Maho means magical, but I don't think that's her name in kanji. So, and I also don't know if her name has like the long vowel. So it might just be Maho instead of Maho, as you would when you add a U after it.
Nice!
Nice! He patted me on the shoulders and smiled. It was an innocent smile like a child's.
じゃあ、詳細は魔法に聞いて。よろしく。
Yoroshiku. Another scientist was calling him, so he wandered away. Maho was shaking her head in disbelief.
アマデウスに合わせるとかテスターとか一体何の話なんだ？
コンベンションでやったデモンストレーション。アマデウスは私の記憶を使っていたんだけれど、
Why is the music sad?
アマデウスのデータとしてもう一人分研究者の記憶が保存してある。
Kurisu. Let's go. Another researcher's memory? What did that mean? When I finally figured it out from Mr. Leskinen's and Maho's conversation, my heart started pounding.
まさか
Masaka.
あいつなのか？
そう。アマデウスの中にはマキセ・クリスの記憶が保存されているわ。8ヶ月前のクリスだけれどね。
You're 8 months old. All right. Actually, perfect time to pause. I feel like this does not... I feel like the pacing issue that I had with the original Steins Gate is significantly better so far. But perhaps it is still too early to tell too. Anyway, let us save so I don't forget. Wait, which one are we? Absolute 0. Okay. But at this point we got future knowledge. It's true. It is true. So, I mean past future knowledge. That is true. That is true. All right. Well, let's see. Do we have anyone to raid? Oh, Pink is playing Minecraft. Or do you guys want to do Assassin's Creed Odyssey? That might be fun. That might be a different change of pace. You could go raid Tommy. Tommy has been here a few times. I'm gonna pop the raid and start that one. But as always, thank you, all of you, for coming by. I appreciate it. And I hope you had fun. This has been a wonderful beginning to Steins Gate 0. A lot of confusion, a lot of brain breaking already, but I love the fact that we get to meet her again in Amadeus. So we'll get to meet her on Wednesday, I hope, and that's gonna be super fun. I hope all of you guys stay safe and take care during the next couple of days, and we will reunite on Wednesday. All right? Have a wonderful day ahead, 2 days ahead, and I'll see you on Wednesday evening, same time. I'll see you then. Have a good one, guys. Thanks again for stopping by.